Imagine a coin so large that it doesn't fit in your wallet, nor in your home. A coin made of stone, weighing tons, hand-carved, transported across treacherous oceans, and yet used as money. Now imagine that this coin is still worth millions, even when it's at the bottom of the sea. Welcome to the islands of Yap, a remote archipelago in the Pacific, where the concept of value challenges everything you've learned about money. Here, wealth isn't what you carry, but what everyone knows you possess. A coin can be broken, submerged, or even inaccessible, and yet no one doubts its value. How is this possible? How did an entire society trust stones as currency for centuries? And why do economists, cryptocurrencies, and even the World Bank study this ancient system as a revolutionary model? Prepare for a journey between tradition and modernity, between the concrete and the symbolic. Because what happened on the islands of Yap may be more alive than you imagine, perhaps even inside your cell phone. Stay until the end to discover how a stone became a symbol of wealth, trust, and even a new financial era. The camera glides over the crystal-clear waters of the Pacific Ocean, surrounded by palm trees gently swaying in the wind. The sound of the waves blends with the distant song of tropical birds. We are on the islands of Yap, part of Micronesia, a place where time seems to have stood still, but where the concept of money was in fact centuries ahead.
Over 500 years ago, the inhabitants of Yap faced a problem common to all civilizations: how to exchange goods fairly. But unlike other peoples who use shells, metals, or grains, the Yapese, as the natives are called, sought something more durable, rarer, and more impressive. Thus were born the Rai Stones, circular limestone coins with a hole in the center, some with a diameter of up to 3.6 meters and weighing over 4 tons. These stones were not carved locally. The Yapese would sail hundreds of kilometers to the island of Palau using primitive canoes facing storms and currents just to extract the white, luminous limestone. Then, with rudimentary tools, they would shape the coins and bring them back, a dangerous journey, often fatal. But the most fascinating thing wasn't the size or the effort, it was the system of ownership. Once carved, the stone rarely moved. Its value didn't depend on physical possession, but on collective consensus. Everyone on the island knew who owned each Rai stone, even if it was at the bottom of the sea after a shipwreck. The value resided in social memory, not in the object itself. Does this seem absurd? Perhaps. But consider, how much of your money exists physically today? Most global transactions are digital, invisible, intangible, based on trust in systems and institutions. Just as the Yapese trusted the word of their community, we trust servers, algorithms, and central banks. This analogy is not coincidental. In fact, the Rai stones are often cited as one of the earliest examples of money based on distributed consensus, a concept that strongly resonates in the era of cryptocurrencies. But how did this ancient system survive time and contact with the modern world? With the arrival of European colonizers in the 19th century, the world of Yap collapsed and was reborn. Missionaries, traders, and later German, Japanese, and American colonial administrators attempted to impose traditional currencies, but the Yapese resisted. To them, the Rai stone was not just money, it was history, honor, family status. An iconic episode illustrates this perfectly. In 1898, the Germans, trying to force the construction of roads, painted a black cross on the stones of the chiefs who refused to cooperate, symbolizing confiscation. But instead of submitting, the Yapese simply ignored the mark. Ownership continued to be recognized by the community. The currency continued to hold value. External authority had no power over internal consensus. This system was not perfect. There were disputes, rare frauds, and the value varied according to the size, quality, and history of the stone, especially if someone had died bringing it in. But it functioned with surprising efficiency based on community transparency and collective memory. In the 20th century, with the introduction of the US dollar, the everyday use of Rai stones diminished. Today, they do not buy bread or gasoline. But they remain present in important ceremonies, weddings, inheritances, peace agreements. They are living symbols of cultural identity and of an alternative economic model. Curiously, in 1992, an anthropologist reported that a family still owned a stone that had sunk during transport more than a century earlier. No one had seen it, no one had touched it, but everyone recognized its ownership. The value was not in the stone, but in the shared history. This concept resonated deeply in the 21st century. When the creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, sought inspiration for a decentralized currency, it was no coincidence that economists compared the blockchain to a Yap Islands ledger. Both rely on a public, immutable, and consensual record, one oral and communal, the other digital and encrypted. Today, collectors and museums pay fortunes for smaller Rai stones. One was sold for over $100,000.
But the Yapese rarely sell theirs, because to them, the true value has never been monetary, it has always been social. The Yap Islands challenge us to rethink what money is. In a world where billions exchange invisible digital assets with a tap on the screen, where value is often speculative and volatile, the lesson of the Rai Stones sounds almost prophetic. Money is, above all, a social agreement. It's not gold, not paper, not code. It's the collective trust that gives value to any currency. The Yapi understood this centuries before central banks, before the internet, before Bitcoin. They created a system where wealth was not measured by what one possessed, but by what was recognized. This idea is more relevant than ever. While debates about cryptocurrencies, central bank digital currencies, and decentralized financial systems dominate the headlines, looking at Yap is like looking into an ancestral mirror. Technology has changed, but the essence remains. Without trust, there is no value. Moreover, the story of Yap is a powerful reminder of cultural diversity and human creativity. On a planet that tends toward economic homogenization, preserving systems like the Rai Stones is not just an act of respect, it's an opportunity to learn from alternative, more sustainable, and more community-oriented models. Today, the youth of Yap grow up between the dollar and tradition. Many no longer know how to carve stones, but they still hear the stories. And these stories, like the stones, continue to live, not because they are intact, but because they are remembered. Perhaps the greatest legacy of the Yap Islands is not a stone currency, but a question. What truly gives value to what we possess? Is it the material, scarcity, or the meaning we build together? If this story made you reflect, share in the comments. What do you believe gives value to money today? Are we creating systems as resilient as those of the Yapese? Don't forget to subscribe to our Enriching World and turn on the bell to not miss our next videos, where we explore real stories that challenge conventional wisdom and enrich not just the pocket, but the mind. Until the next journey.